YouTube with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Oregon in the United States. Thanks so much for taking time from your busy day to spend a little bit of it with me. I appreciate it so much. We are going to be using the shell collecting stamp set today. This is a stand-alone stamp set, which means that it is not it doesn't have punch or dies or anything to go with it. I'm sorry, my brain was stuck. Hello, Laura. Let's put this on live chat so I can see everything. You don't want to be on top chat, only live chat. Okay, there we go. So we'll be making a fun fold card today using the shell collecting stamp set. Some housekeeping things. We'll also be using the January product of the month. Fabulous sayings for a sentiment. Shell collecting does not have sentiments in it, so we're going to be using fabulous sayings for the front sentiment. And you can get the product of the month with a qualifying purchase here in the United States of $75, and that is after you've used any coupons or Stampin' Rewards. And as a reminder, any coupons, bonus coupons that you earned in January need to be spent this month in February. If they aren't spent, they disappear and you cannot get them back. If you are not planning to place an order and you have coupons, go ahead and feel free to gift those to a friend. And all you have to do is just send them the little email that Stampin' Up! Sent you with the little code, and they can use that. Okay, so during the month of February, until March 2nd, if you join my team or anyone else's team, Stampin' Up! Will include in your starter kit a stamp positioning tool, brand new out. That's the only way you can get it at this particular moment. And then one of the other items that we're going to be using today is the February product of the month, Painted Illusions Designer Series paper. So we'll be using two of the product of the months along with the shell collecting stamp set. All right, let's go ahead and see who else is on here. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Cynthia. Tracy, my hand. I was struggling on Tuesday. I finished up my 40 Valentine gift boxes. And when I finished it up, the ligaments or muscle, whatever in my hand went bad, and I'm having a hard time with the area in here. It is getting better, but Katie decided it was a good idea to wrap it and give it some compression and help that little area. So hopefully by tomorrow I'll be back to completely normal. It's much better than it was on Tuesday and even yesterday. I struggled yesterday incredibly. So we're just gonna go with it because that's what we gotta do. Okay, let's go ahead. In addition to what I've already showed you, we will be using this So Swirly embossing folder. This is one of those gigantic 6 by 8 inch, 8.5 inch, I think they're 8.5. Yep, 8.5, 6 by 8.5 inch folders. It's not 3D, but it does make a really nice impression. So we're going to be using that. And then we're going to also be using, I know I'm mashing up a bunch of stuff. I'm using the largest clipped corner or rounded corner rectangle from the Nested Essentials. And we're going to be using, from Gears and Textures, we're going to be using this stamp here. Okay, So I like to just look to see what I have in hand, what I think is going to work for the card I have in mind. And that stamp from the Gears and Textures, that's a great stamp set to have on hand. Even if you're not going to get the dies, there's lots of good background textures in that Gears and Textures. Okay, so here is our color palette: Petal Pink, Lost Lagoon, Pretty Peacock, Misty Moonlight, and Basic Beige. And if you're wondering where I got those colors, it's right out of the paper from the Painted Illusions. So this is kind of a different pack of paper. It, instead of having 6 double-sided designs and 2 each, it has 4 double-sided designs, and you get 3 of each. Okay, so this is what we have. I don't have a full pack. I shared with my friends. So this is what I have. Okay. Crafting overuse. Yep. That's what I think, Tracy. Crafting overuse. I tried to make too many treat boxes in a very short amount of time, along with designing for my Tuesday Night Live. Yep. Crafting overuse. Terrible. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. For our card base, we have a piece of basic white that is, yes, partially scored. This is a thick basic white, 5.5 by 8.5. It's already scored in the center at 4 1/4. And I also need to score it at, not with that, good grief, I need to score it at 2 1/8. That's halfway between. Let me turn it over. I really want to score it on the other side, the opposite direction of how I scored my center line, because that's how I'm going to fold it. Okay, so I've got my valley score in the middle, and I'm just going to turn that valley score into a mountain fold. Okay, and then I've got the 2 1/8 inch, and I'm going to turn that valley score into a mountain fold. And this is the basis of our fun fold, also known as a Z fold. Okay, so there's our card base. We can set that aside. We're done with that for the moment. Now, we're going to take a piece of basic beige, and we might as well do both of our basic beige Stampins at the same time. So we've got basic beige, and I cut this with the largest rounded corner rectangle from the Nested Essentials that I showed you. And then we've got a piece of basic beige, and this one is 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. I'll double check that. Oh no, this is 2 1/8. Sorry about that. 2 1/8 by 5 1/4. Okay, I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper. I'm going to put this on here, and we're going to get our basic beige ink pad. Let's get this out of the way before I get ink on it that I don't want. And let's open this up. Okay, we're going to start with one of our shells. And I'm just going to stamp this on here in basic beige. And then let's grab another one. And I'm going to go for the largest one here. And then we'll do the starfish. And then we'll finish up with this one here. And I'm going to make this one go like that. And I kind of feel like I need another little something up here. So we're just going to stick that up there like that. Okay. So there is our piece for that. Now we're going to take this piece and we're going to run that through the So Swirly embossing folder. And then we're going to have this. Okay. Then we're going to take our focal image piece here, and from the gears and textures, I'm using this piece that looks kind of like sand to me, I thought. And I'm just going to stamp some of that around the edges there. Okay. And I think we're done with, no, yeah, I shouldn't have probably closed that up. They're so hard for me to get open. Okay, let's go ahead and take some scrap white here. And we're going to stamp some of our shells. But before we can stamp them, we actually have to clean what we're going to use because we just used everything in the basic beige. So we'll give those a quick clean on our Simply Chamois here. And we're not going to take that too far because we're going to need to clean in between here. We're going to start with our starfish. And we're going to need some petal pink. Okay. So we're going to stamp our starfish in petal pink. I'm going to clean that real quick. And then I'm going to flip this over. This is a reversible stamp set and it's meant to do this. You'll find that the photopolymer on the reversibles is a lot thicker than our regular photopolymer. And then we're going to take this. We'll ink up that side. Let's stamp that off. And then I'm going to fill in this image. Okay, and I've got that. Now, done with petal pink. Let's move to Misty Moonlight. And we're going to stamp this little shell here in Misty Moonlight. I think that's a beautiful shell right there. And then we're going to flip this over. Ink it up in Misty Moonlight. Stamp that off. This is not the one I needed. This one's backwards. Sorry about that. I forgot about that. This one, if you use the back side of that for that particular shell, it doesn't stamp. It will work, but it's not a mirror image. So what I need to do is I need to take the mirror image stamp that's just like that, and I'm going to put the back side of that one up, and then I'll ink that off, and then this one will line up perfectly. Okay, so you have two types in here. Some of them are, what do they call that? The word escapes me. Some of them line right up because the back side is the same as the front side. I'll think of the word. It begins with a C. It's just not coming to me at the moment. Okay. Okay, so then I also need I want this shell here. And we're going to take Lost Lagoon. And we're going to stamp this one in Lost Lagoon. And my Lost Lagoon seems a little bit juicy here. I'm going to push the ink down because the ink is beading on my stamp. So I'm going to go ahead and push that down with a spoon. You could use a gift card or your bone folder, but then if you use your bone folder, get your bone folder all messy. Then you got to clean it. Okay, so now we've got that, and that looks so much better. I've got to clean this stamp real quick. And then I need to flip this over. My chamois not very wet. I forgot to wet before I wet my knives. There we go. That'll work better. And then we're going to flip this over. And this time I'm going to use Basic Beige. Okay, so I'm going to ink that up. I'm going to stamp that off because I don't want it to be very dark. I just don't want it to be white. And now I've got that. Okay. Then I'm going to flip this around. We're going to take the word thank you from the Fabulous Sayings product of the month of January. And I think this time I'm going to go with Misty Moonlight. On my original sample, I used Pretty Peacock, but I think I'm just going to use the Misty Moonlight this time. And I'm going to stamp this down here in this corner like so. Okay. And that is pretty much all of the stamping. Okay, now I need to clean this off. I'm going to show you a trick that I saw on Facebook. Don't ask me who showed it, but for those of you who have trouble fussy cutting out your images here, or your sentiments, take and put your stamp back down on the image. Take a pencil and trace your stamp. Okay. That's going to give you a nice rough outline. Okay. Just trace that up. Don't worry how perfect it is, doesn't matter. So you're not actually going to cut right on this line. Okay, that should be good. All right, so now I've got this rough cut here. I'm going to take this. There are no dies that go with this stamp set. Pick where you want to end. And then come in here and follow your line of your stamp. Don't be afraid to cut excess off that gets in your way. This is for anyone who, you don't quite know where you should put in your turns and your things when you're fussy cutting on a sentiment. So this can just be helpful. Okay. And now we've got that. All right. Now, I would go ahead and stamp or fussy cut all of these. But I didn't want you to have to watch me fussy cut, especially with, oh, maybe no. Please tell me I did fussy cut those. Oh, no, I didn't. That's terrible. Oh, I didn't fussy cut because last night my hand was hurting too hard when I was prepping. Sorry. You're going to have to watch me fussy cut today. Oops. I thought I did cut those out, but apparently I did not. I must have decided my hand was too tired. And I didn't want to press it. So now you can watch the fussy cut and you'll get to see just how quick this is. It doesn't take that much. These are pretty easy little images. Would it be fabulous if they came up with a die set for this? Absolutely. But these really aren't that bad. Just to keep getting rid of your excess. Remember to move your paper with your non-dominant hand. And all you're doing with the dominant hand is opening and closing the scissors. Okay, there we go. All of those images cut. Okay, we are ready to start putting this card together. We have all of our pieces at this point. So let's bring back in our card base. I've cut 2 pieces of that Painted Illusions Designer Series paper. These are cut at 1 7/8. Yep, 1 7/8 by 5 1/4, both of them. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put some liquid glue on because it's easiest for me. Because I don't have to press down on the paper with my hand. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to attach this to this piece right here. Center that up as best we can. Okay, this piece is going to go right in here. I lined that pattern up if you were wondering why I turned that around. Because I cut these 2 pieces next to each other. Oh, one's longer than the other. That's not going to work. Okay, well, let's trim this one off. I got this one a little bit too long. I'm just going to trim that one off. Just like that. Now my hands are kind of sticky because that was all glued. Okay, there we go. Close enough. All right. Now we're going to take the piece that we stamped and embossed. And hopefully this is the right size. Yep. And we're going to put some liquid glue on this. And then I'm going to add this to the inside of my card. And this piece again was 2 1/8 by 5 1/4. And that's not exactly straight. Come on, move over. There we go. Got that moved. Okay, so now when we close that, you won't see that line, okay? I've already gone ahead and done the inside piece, so let's go ahead and put that in. This piece down here is a 1/2 inch, and this piece is 1 7/8. Okay, 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. This is a 1/2 inch by 1 7/8. And then I stamped a sentiment there on the inside. And that actually is from a retired stamp set called Something Fancy. The font from the retired Something Fancy set is the same as the font in Fabulous Sayings. So that's why I pulled that in. So now we've got that all ready to go. Now all we need to do is add our focal image. And we need to get some glue off of our hands because that's not going to work out well for me. Okay, so let's take our images here, and I want these to go about like this. And of course, I always put them down and I love the way they look. And then by the time I get the glue on them and start gluing them down, they don't end up looking as nicely as I had intended. It happens a lot. Okay, so I'm not going to press this down. I'm just going to lay that back down there. Give these another look because that's the key to making this look right for me, is that one right there. Okay, so that one looks good. I can do that. I'm going to take and put a Stampin' Dimensional in the center here. Symmetrical. That is the stamp that is the word that I was thinking of. This stamp is symmetrical. So however you do it, whether you do it right side up or upside down, the shape is the same. It's symmetrical. Okay. But this is not symmetrical. So if you try to turn this one upside down, as you can see, this little doohickey thing and this end are, when you flip them, they don't match up. So these are the exact opposites of stamps, which allow you to, when you flip them over, then the back side makes it symmetrical. That's the word I was looking for. Whew. I knew it would come to me eventually, right? That's what happens. You eventually figure it out. Okay, so I want this to be kind of like this. So I'm not going to press that down. And I'm going to take a glue dot for the tip of this one. Right there. And then I'm going to take a Stampin' Dimensional and I'm going to put up here. And I'm going to tuck this under the arm of the starfish and tack that down like that. And then I can give that a push because I'm happy with it. Okay, now we're going to flip our sentiment over. And I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on here. And now I'm going to attach this to my card before I add the sentiment. Okay, so this is going to go in the center here. But I don't want to put any adhesive on the right side of this. I only want it on the left side. So we're going to take and put a little adhesive just under halfway here. Okay. And then I'm going to set this down, center it up how I want it. Looking left to right. And give that a good press. And then I'm going to make sure that I don't have any adhesive right there. Okay. Now, we're going to take our thank you here. Let's see if I'm missing anything here in the, whoop, nope. Whoop, nope, I've got it. Okay. Just checking the comments. Then I'm going to put my thank you right here. And it's okay if I go off over here as long as it's not hanging off my card. Okay. And then to finish this card off, we're going to take some of the Pearls of Beauty. These come in white, calypso coral, and crumb cake. And I love these crumb cake ones to go along with the basic beige and the illusion of sand. So I'm going to take a smaller one and I'm going to put it up here. Take a larger one and put it right there. And then I'm going to take another one and I'm going to put it right there. Okay. And when I'm happy with that placement, I'm going to give those a press with the end of my Take Your Pick tool. And that, my friends, is our fun fold thank you card with the shell collecting stamp set. All right. And then I kept the envelope really simple. I just took that large seashell and I stamped that in petal pink on the detail, and then on the back side I used basic beige again, like I showed you there. All right, that is our card for tonight, everybody. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I highly encourage you to do so. Hit that notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a video and or go live right here on YouTube. And you can purchase all of these items in my online store. There'll be a link in the description below. Thank you so much. Thanks, Tracy. I won't be stamping tomorrow, I assure you. Thanks, everybody. Good night.